So I might struggle with verbalizing exactly what I felt today and how today's impacted me. But basically, we did clown today, clown class, and it was very tough because we had to be in front of another person and make them laugh. The first thing that we did, though, before even doing that, we, as a group, we were divided into two separate groups. One group was the audience, and they made sounds with their hands, with their voices. And the other group kind of was hiding behind these objects and then went out in front to make a dance. But each person went out individually and made their own dance, and the other person that would follow had to copy their dance, and then they eventually had to change the dance together with no words, just from observing the other person and their peripheral vision and feeling the other person. That was interesting. I enjoyed that exercise because it really helped me get a feel for how to understand what it feels like to move within a group, to behave, to act, to intuitively and naturally flow in your actions with a group without choreography. And it was just fun being able to be loose and be silly. It was also interesting to see the other group go up and to be, from my perspective, in the audience, watching people, see them be uncomfortable and see their process in how they were dealing with being up there and participating in the activity. So after that, we did the thing where you have to make the other person laugh. And it wasn't really that bad when it was just one person, because we both kind of knew this is awkward, and we were both in the same shoes, same position. Then it got to groups of 3 instead of groups of 2. So now you're in front of making 2 people laugh. And after a while, it wasn't that bad either. It was really just a lot of being silly. I was just making random noises and just following my impulse, right? Following my impulse and trying to watch for the other person's, my audience's reaction, really be engaged, really be with them, making eye contact, not trying to rush through what you're doing, but listening and responding and just having fun. Then the end came, and we had to get in front of the entire class. Although our class was small today, I think it was only 7 people today. And that was terrible. That was extremely awkward. I just tried to do a Peter Griffin, a Lois Griffin impression. And I tried to talk like this, and it was terrible. Because I was saying, Peter, Peter. And then I couldn't think of anything else. It was just when you get that feeling of being defeated and your energy drops. Yeah. But I think what was interesting about that process is learning the importance of continuing to stay present. And the teacher mentioned bouncing, not letting your energy fall, but bouncing, getting back up. Try again, try a new technique, try something else. If something is working, keep doing it. I'm just cringing, just still thinking about the class. But I really enjoy clown class because it is an excellent way of being okay with failure. And he said we were going to learn that, and that's what we've been learning. Like being okay with that extremely uncomfortable feeling of something not working out and you just having to try again. So yeah, I really enjoy that. And we have movement class where we continue with the viewpoints technique. I'm still trying to figure out. Like I understand, but I think it's just too much abstraction that is applied to the physicality of what we're learning versus actual practice. We'll do these games and exercises to later apply them to practical situation on stage in an ensemble, like in a play. But like we're not actually in the play right now. And doing the technique is just, I don't know, it's just frustrating to me. But what we've been doing is kinesthetic response, and it's about responding to the group, following your impulse. But the thing about it is when I follow my impulse, sometimes it looks like I'm leading. But you should follow your impulse because it might be the group impulse. But how do you differentiate the two? That is the thing. And I'm really having to work through not allowing myself, well, I can be frustrated, but not allowing my frustration to take me out of the class and the present moment of what we are doing and just being open to discovering what this can show me. What it can show me. And I know it's like I understand intellectually the concept, but because it's such a physical activity, I am looking for responses, like the internal aha moment within my body that lets me know I finally understand it, and I'm just not getting it. There's something about making this an activity that is giving me a disconnect. I really can't even explain or properly intellectualize what I don't understand. I don't even feel like what I just said made sense. So I'm going to move on to the next thing. We did acting class, and we reviewed text, which was fun. How to properly look at a text and dissect it. I enjoyed that. We read Meet Vera, by the way, Meet Vera Stark as an example, which is a play I really enjoyed because I saw it in Detroit, played by some wonderful people that I already knew, and it was great. So I got to actually reference that when talking about how Vera in this play Meet Vera Stark, she's a black woman in the 1930s who is a maid to her white passing cousin, and Vera finds herself having to play different roles, different characters as she navigates the various social interactions that she finds herself in. When she's with her white passing cousins, they're like sisters, but when someone else enters the room, she has to behave like the maid. When she's in front of this big time movie producer, she is displaying herself in a way, acting like mammy slave kind of caricature to get him to see that she can play this role that he's casting for. When she's with her friends, Anna, and I forgot the other person's name, she's more open in herself, and we see more of who Vera is personally outside of the roles. But it makes me think about the roles that we play in our daily life. Who are you really? Because even though you have to play a role, even though the role that you execute has to be done in a certain way, let's say you're at a bank, you behave a certain way, you're in a customer service position, you behave a certain way, you still have your own nuance to how you approach, how you display that role. And that nuance is your character, like who you are as a person, found in each different role that you play. It made me think about that because we play a lot of different roles in our lives. And especially as a multi-passionate person, you're watching this, you probably identify as multi-passionate. You might find yourself in each of the different things you do acting in different roles, behaving one way in one hobby that you do versus maybe you behave differently in another thing, and of course, depending on context. But each of these different things that we do bring out different parts of ourselves. And I think that the roles that people play, that they choose to play, that they choose to participate in their daily life, it can also say a lot about that person. Because one, you chose to play that role, even if you were forced to. Maybe because for a job you have to behave a certain way. But also how you execute that role says a lot about you as well. And I really believe that it's not just the person, we're all separated into different parts, different aspects of ourselves. And I think what's beautiful about being multi-passionate is that that's what we are acknowledging, the different aspects of ourselves, the different aspects that we yearn to explore and share with others. And as I talked about in the previous video, it's a gift to be able to understand and realize these different interests that you have, because each interest brings out a different part of you, and it adds more depth to you as a person. You begin to learn more about yourself, even more through these different things that you do. Which also makes me think about Buddhism, because in Buddhism they talk about what emphasizes the concept of who are you outside of all of the things that you do. And that's something I think about a lot too, because, we have all these different things that we do. But if they were all taken away and you weren't able to do it ever again, who are you? How would you define yourself? If you couldn't do any of these things. You couldn't do any of the things that bring out the different characteristics of your personality and character. How would you define yourself? Is it worth it to define yourself at that point? Is it necessary to? What does it mean to define yourself outside of the things that you do? What exactly does that mean? Why would you do that? I think it's to better understand the concept that we are we are individual souls existing within a body. I know I just went on a complete total workaround to get to that point, but this conversation led me to that point. And this is so meta right now. I think I will end the video there. See you in the next one. Bye.